Berean, you don't never talk about the white Jew and what the white Jew have done. I often don't. I often tell people, students of Sunday Seminary and others, you cannot lump everybody together. It doesn't work like that. What do I mean it doesn't work like that? All cops aren't wicked. All Asians aren't smart. This is just how it is. All black girls don't have big behinds. This is just how it is. You can't lump everybody together. And people often I've been around for a little while, and I like to read. So I've read a few books in my little time here on earth. A lot of people like to bring up Revelation 1 and specifically Hebrew Israelites, a lot of Hebrew Israelites, to show me that I am a black Hebrew Israelite and that the European Jews are imposters. And they bring up Revelation. I know those that call themselves Jews and are not, but they're the synagogue of Satan. And they bring up Arthur's book, The 13th Tribe. Now, Arthur's book been around. I read Arthur's book a minute ago. I think he dropped that in 1977. So a lot of you 91 people that you just born the other day start reading that book like y'all bringing me something new. Been there, done that. Arthur's book, The 13th Tribe, and Iceman, Inheritance, Protocols of Zion, all those old words. This is nothing new. The internet is new, and we see it jumping now on the internet. But people have been reading, we've been reading that for a long time. So we've been there, done that with those books. One of the main problems that people don't understand is what I always teach when you start dealing with the Jews of the first century when that was written. This is part of biblical interpretation. When John penned that on the Isles of Patmos, who were the Jews? Who were the Israelites at that time? Was it a black white thing at that time? At that time on this planet, your skin color didn't mean you were looked down upon. That's a fairly new invention in the history of the world. We can even see when the Greeks came in contact with the Egyptians, their attitude, they described what they look like, their hair, the different texture of their hair, as far as Herodotus and so many of Diodorus and so many other people, but they actually looked up to them. So they knew they looked different from them, but they never looked down on them because of the darkness of their skin. So people have timelines confused, and that's the main thing. When we start dealing with Arthur's book, he speaks about the 8th century and how those from the Khazarian Empire, how they were converted in the 12th or in the 8th century, and then in the 12th and the 13th century, what was going on with them in their region. The problem is that's 1,000 years after the book of Revelation. That's 1,000 years after. So anytime when you're trying to make a connection with that, we run into a problem. Jesus didn't have an iPhone. The apostles didn't have iPhones and riding Benzes. So your connection's not proper. Your connection's not proper. Your timelines are not proper. And well, and then people want to start talking about, well, the Jews this, and then you got to understand they got the Kabbalah. The Jews are controlling our minds. Oh, y'all got to stop some of this stuff. It borderlines conspiracies. Have there been wicked Jews? Of course, there have been wicked Jews, wicked white people, wicked black people, wicked Asians. This is a thing of the heart. When we start talking about sin, we start talking about wickedness, we start talking about mankind. Is racism going anywhere? No, not at all. The last days, it's nations shall rise against nations. That word there's ethnos. It's going to be ethnic conflict. We see everybody from Charles Manson to the British Israelism, Christian identity movement. They want a race war. They want to keep this madness going, and they always are looking for somebody to blame. We're pure, we're chosen, and y'all are wicked. Another thing with the problem is Abraham. What is the race of Abraham? A lot of Hebrew Israelites, oh my goodness, they're very confused with that. What's the race of Abraham? We see that Israelite people freely intermingled. First of all, when they were birthed as a nation, we can say when they came in 70 people and how they left out of Egypt. If we go solely with the Bible, we'll see that they freely intermingled. Egyptians left with them. Moses clearly married somebody outside of his ethnic group. Abraham, David, Solomon, a lot of them were married outside of their ethnic group. Now, everybody couldn't be black Africans because Miriam Miriam and Aaron wouldn't have beefed with Moses for marrying a Cushite woman, who we know, according to the Greek writers and everybody else, were black people, burnt, dark-skinned, dark-faced, burnt people. They didn't look the same. They couldn't have looked the same. So we run into a lot of problems when we try to say all Israelites are black people. All Israelites are not black people. Stop the madness. The chart is out of the window. Anytime I start speaking to an Israelite, they bring up that chart to me, I can't even have a conversation with you. I'm beyond that chart. Everybody that's somebody know the Israelite 12 tribe chart is a lie. This is just how it is. I know you're looking for black pride and white man and all of that stuff. We've been doing this for a long time. We've been doing this for a long time. And when you start dealing with that stuff, Melvin Herkowitz, I believe his name is. Him, Carter G. Woolson, the other guy, Herbert, there's another guy. Y'all just Google those names. They're European Jews. Oh, y'all don't want to hear that. They're European Jews. If it wasn't for them, y'all wouldn't even have African American studies in the university. European Jews were in the forefront of that. They've been involved in a lot of stuff. Till I can say the Black Power movement and then certain groups in 1966 and all of that, snicking them. They wanted to separate themselves from Jews. They wanted to kind of put everybody out of the organization. But as far as leading out in the NAACP and the civil rights movement and all of that, European Jews been involved in that. European Jews been involved in that. So y'all gotta dig a little deeper. Racism has no place in scholarship. When I start saying that, a lot of people don't understand. I can't come with racist or preconceived notions about certain people and drag it back to antiquity if it didn't exist back then. If it didn't exist back then, I can't take it and make it a color thing. So people are they're handling the word of God deceitfully. They're taking the Bible and making it a race thing. When we start dealing with Jews, we have rabbis here in Brooklyn. We have rabbis in New York City that don't agree with what's going on in Israel and the land. They say that's part of the United Nations and all that other stuff. That have nothing to do with us, and that's not Holy Writ. Then you have Jews that don't even follow the Bible. You have some that are conservative. You have some that don't even follow the Bible, and they're just regular people. So anytime you start trying to bunch a race or a group, oh, black men are criminals, that's part of the sickness. It's all part of the sickness. And people tend to do that. In scholarship, you can't do that. There's no place for that in true scholarship. If you're truly researching, if you truly wanting to get into the writ and find out what's what, you have to dig, you have to be prayerful, and you have to be studious of the book. And what's going on at the time. A lot of people, they're trying to drag that racism in the Bible. Well, he clearly said that there were Jews that were that. Well, the Apostle Paul was a Jew. When you start dealing with Jews, all the foundation of the church is built on Judaism. All of the apostles were Jews. What are we going to do with that? They were Israelites. What are we going to do with that? But when we start getting locked down into skin color, we run into a problem, and time again, you're going to run into a problem trying to make Jesus black. Jesus was not black in the sense of a black African. Jesus wasn't African. Apostle Paul wasn't African. I know Israelites going to hit me in the comment section right now. Everybody that's black is not an African. Okay, I know that, and we have to determine what blackness is according to so many different people. What do you call black? What do you call black? Is Bin Laden black? The Saddam Hussein, were they black? Were they people of color but not white? We have to deal with the non-white people, not just black people. It's not just a black, it's not just a white thing. Y'all Google them words. Y'all look them names up. Do a lot of research, but you don't let nobody mix you up with Arthur's book, The 13th Tribe, and the 1st century book of Revelation. Because those people that came about in the 13th tribe came 1,000 years later after the 1st century and what was going on then. My name is Brother Berean. If you like what you heard, subscribe. Thanks for watching.